Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. It's good to see you. So, we've heard some rumors lately of what the proposed Man of Steel sequel, that of course is on permanent hold, will contain, and one of the latest rumors is that Supergirl will be a big part of it. As much of the movie will be devoted to Supergirl as it will to Superman himself. As any rumor that we hear about on these movies, especially when a movie hasn't been announced yet and is on definite, permanent, indefinite hold and may never come, we need to take these with a grain of salt and not, of course, take them as fact. Right now, there isn't even a sequel in the works. My guess is that there will be, and that it will come on the heels of the expected success of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. But as of right now, we're just guessing, and this report coming out that Supergirl will be a big part of the sequel, as well as Brainiac, and that Brainiac will create Bizarro, and this kind of thing, holds no weight at the moment, and is just speculation unless somebody has some sort of inside knowledge, in which case we don't know how much we can trust that inside knowledge, because nothing is official until it's official. Sometimes it sounds like we're in a runaround loop and we don't know what we're talking about, and that's because we don't. But the reason I bring this up is because Diane Nelson, president of DC Entertainment, recently spoke up about the possibility of the DC television and movie universes being connected, and the possibility, according to her, is nil. She is committed to keeping them two separate universes. The reason that she gives is that DC is a company that forges ahead based on the creative talent, that they ride the backs of their creative talent, that the company is successful because of its creative talent. And all of that sounds great, because the whole explanation was, well, this gives us the ability to allow our creatives that are involved in each project to do their own thing without having to worry about being beholden to one movie or another, or one television show or another. This is what keeps Gotham separate from the Dark Knight series, or allows there to be a Batman v Superman movie while there is a young Bruce Wayne growing up. But in the Batman v Superman movie, which happens now, Batman's grown up. So how could he be a kid and also be grown up at the same time? So, while I get that, it also seems lazy to me, and it also seems like a missed opportunity. Now, the thing is, and I've said this before, DC shouldn't necessarily copy everything Marvel's done, although they've been super successful. And so far, DC's just had questionable success, with, of course, the exception of the Dark Knight trilogy, which in and of itself is in a separate universe than the new DC movie universe that is kind of being headed up by Zack Snyder, and then there's going to be movies that are directed by other people. So the idea that it's all going to be separate is not entirely new from a DC standpoint. It always has been, and even Jeff Johns and other people have come out recently and said that they are separate. And being separate from that creative standpoint makes sense, because then, like with J.J. Abrams' new Star Trek or new Star Wars, I'm certain that they didn't want to be beholden to all these books that had been written over the years, or have to stay within a certain timeline with the old Star Trek. They wanted to be able to forge ahead with their own stories and do their own thing without having to say, oh, but this didn't happen, or that didn't happen, or the people know that this happened in a book, or that happened somewhere else. So they went fresh, and I think that makes a lot of sense from any creative standpoint, but it's also, it could be looked at as a way to be lazy, just like it is in the books. The line of comic books now is so separate that during the period of time where Superman lost his powers in the Truth storyline, we never even heard how it happened or why it was related or how Lois revealed his identity or anything. Everything was so mixed up and all the books were so far out of order because there didn't seem to be any consultation between the groups of creatives that are so important to making the company successful. So it just seemed really sloppy and messy, and that they didn't really coordinate at all. And obviously, if you separate all the TV and movie entities, that means that nobody has to worry about anybody else, and therefore they don't have to do that extra work or go that extra mile to come together to plan something or something along those lines. But On the other hand, it could also be good, because then we get multiple versions of characters, and maybe one fan likes one version better than another fan does, or maybe another fan likes all versions, or likes to see different ideas, kind of like the multiverse. There's an Earth 2, an Earth 3, an Earth 4, an Earth 80, whatever it is. So in each of them, your characters act or look slightly different. That way you can never say, but that's not what Superman would do. You can then say, that's not what my favorite Superman would do, or that's not what Superman from Prime Earth would do, or that's not what evil Superman would do. But you can say, maybe, like Arrow on television, he's not exactly like Green Arrow in the comics, but maybe he'll become closer. And maybe the Man of Steel Superman isn't exactly like Christopher Reeve's Superman, or even close enough to please you if you're a Christopher Reeve fan. But that means we can all have our cake and eat it too. In other words, this one can be great, this one can be just okay, this one we can think is wonderful, this one we can love, this one we can hate. But that leaves all these possibilities open for all other fans to also enjoy what they enjoy. So it could be a good thing, but ultimately when I heard what she said, it just came across as sounding lazy to me. Like, that way we don't have to worry about it. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.